What's going on, folks? Welcome back to Green Beret Chronicles. Jay Dolly is here, and then I have Q. Q, if they don't know who you are, I don't know how that's possible, but please let the folks know who you are, and then we'll talk about SFAS, buds, and then we'll hit a little bit of current events, and then we'll be on our way.
What's going on, Big J? Hey, for the people that don't know who I am, former Navy SEAL, 22 years active duty. Currently, I'm the host of Special Forces World's Toughest Test that you can see on Fox, on Hulu, and even you can see some of that on YouTube. Just depends on what's going on today, because Fox sometimes put it on and takes it off. Whatever, right? But I'm a keynote speaker. I do team building events, leadership events, workshops for high schools, colleges, corporate organizations, corporate teams, all these different things. And now I'm also working at the same time, side by side, with my brother, my Green Beret brother right here, Jay, on YouTube, that we're building this up and really giving some great content to the viewership out there. So we just made this team up here recently, and we're just going to really, blow this thing up. So you guys can reach out to me at jovanquarles.com. That's my number one website. Or you can reach out to me here on YouTube, my YouTube channel, and also on Instagram at Jovan P. Quarles. So I'm here for you.
Gotcha. And the biggest thing is the YouTube guys. We're trying to grow this YouTube presence, because at the end of the day, right, like I was talking to you earlier, for me, and I know for you and then Jake and some of these other guys that's within our circle, it's about helping the next generation of warfighters. Um,
Mhm.
because I was talking to an old timer the other day, and like he loves going to the VFW, right? VFW this, VFW that, and they go there and they slam a shit ton of brewskis, just get drunk as hell, telling war stories. I'm like, bro, could you imagine, like, as a GWAT vet, could you imagine the knowledge we could have gotten from the Vietnam vets if they were
Yeah.
sharing it? You know what I mean? Just the lessons learned, fighting in the jungle, and dude, I would give anything for that, to be able to jump on YouTube and hear a Green Beret story from Vietnam, or you a Navy SEAL story from Vietnam, and just kind of learn from all these folks, man. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to the VFW and drinking myself, to death. I'm a by all means, if that's what you want to do you. But I'd rather get on here, share my experience, lessons learned, how I navigated it, and hopefully some youngster out there is able to, hear us and then not make the same mistakes that we made, right? So for me, that's what it's all about. So with all that said, man, buds, like, how was that for you? What are some of the mistakes that you've made? Were you intimidated? Did you know what to expect? Please share your journey with me, and then I'll share mine with you, and then we'll go from there.
A great question, Jay. A lot of people think that buds is one of those things where they drown you on purpose. I think that's one of the myths. But we'll have to do a show on myths, right? On
Yeah,
on
yeah,
these
yeah. I'm
training
gonna
cycles,
write that
these
down.
breaking these myths that everyone talks about, or things that we're all about. But people, man, I mean, I had people asking me, man, did they really drown you guys? Did they take you out in the middle of the ocean and just like you guys got to swim all the way back to land when they took you out like 10, 20 miles out there or something like that? Like, nah, man, we didn't. They don't do that kind of stuff. That is a myth.
Hmm.
But they put you in, and this, they put you in positions where you feel like you're in fear of death, or you feel like you're going to drown. They use that water to really put you in that mindset to see what you're going to do, see your response. So for me, Buzz was insane. Buzz was intense. It was crazy. I never experienced anything like it. You and I come from athletic backgrounds, so growing up in high school, football star, track athlete, basketball, all those kind of things, it just didn't match up to any of that. You got coaches who give you pats on the back when you have a good moment or a good day at practice or a good game or whatever. You don't get no pats on the back when you're going through selection, right? It was just all hell on you the entire time. People looked at me like they didn't think I could swim. I didn't really take that into account, that I needed to really be able to be a good swimmer.
Yeah.
So I struggled, I struggled, but at the end of the day, it all worked out. I did end up graduating. I did end up graduating at the top as an honor grad for my BUDS class. BUDS, for everyone who doesn't know, is Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL Training. So I finished as the honor grad, the first black man to do that in Navy SEAL history. So that's something for the record book. So maybe people will read a book about me or a story about me sometime. Who knows? But that's where it went.
Yeah, yeah, and for you guys, it's what, it's 6 months, and Jake and I would have these conversations, and then we would talk about, hey, because for me, selection is 21 days, right? My selection
Uh-huh.
to be exact, was 14 days, and it
Uh-huh.
was, we started off with about 400 dudes, and then at the end, we had 128, and like 70 of us got selected. But for us, it was just constant sleep depth, constant food depth, and then just your body was just eating itself, and you could smell. Because I always joke that what the water is for you guys, the rucksack is for us. So for us, it was just constantly walking from point A to point B, no food, no sleep, right? And you're constantly under stretch, right? Damn, I would say maybe there's nights where we got like 2 or 3 hours. There's nights where we didn't get any sleep. You know what I mean? So I think in looking at the two different selection processes, do you think, like, because yours is 6 months long, right?
Yeah,
Did the
yeah.
time or the longevity of it like affect you at all? Like, did it really intimidate you as far as, man, I got to do 6 months of this, or was it more so like, okay, I can do anything within 6 months? You know what I mean?
No, you know what? I mean, that's a good part because people don't think about the longevity of it, that you're
Hmm.
going through this, and it's so consistent, and it's so long term. And 6 months of getting your ass beat is a very it's a psychological beat down. You know what I mean? You're thinking about that kind of stuff. It truly is a psychological beatdown. So for me, the 6 months was hard. And the funny part is, you knew the schedule, right? You knew what was coming up. You knew everything was going on from Monday to Friday. You got the weekends off. People don't realize that as well. That's another myth. You do get the weekends off, so you kind of get going. Take care of your body. Some people who got wives in town or whatever, if they're stationed there, they kind of go hang out
Now,
in the
is that a
hotel. They go
good
home.
thing, or do guys get in trouble doing those weekends? You know what I mean? Because I know, at least for us down here on the Army side, you give Joe a freaking weekend off, and they're gonna go do some dumb shit. Is that the case over there? Do you
Yeah,
see that happening over there too?
yeah, you'll get guys who, especially young kids, they want to go and party in downtown San Diego, so they'll still have that energy on, say, Friday night. Because on Friday night, we get done probably around 9 p.m. You know what I mean? Um, and guys just want to, some guys just got that energy. They want to go let loose. And I'm like, bro, I'm about to go get this massage tomorrow on Saturday morning. That was my take of it. I'm gonna get this massage Saturday morning and really take care of my feet. Well, other guys were just go partying. The next thing you know, on Sunday night, when everybody comes back, some people don't come back right. Some people come back a little tired or exhausted. They didn't really take care of their body. They didn't let their body heal. And you see people either quit Monday morning based off they got that little what we call it. We call it like
Like a
that
little
little
lag to them?
yeah, yeah, and they had that little piece of freedom. They had that little piece of fun,
Mm.
and their mind wasn't really, locked in to be like, you know what, on the weekend I need to really just chill and prep because you only got like really a day. You got all of Saturday off, and then Sunday night you're right back at the barracks, cleaning your barracks like crazy. So I'm saying you're back there by like 5:30, 6 p.m. So it's not like you had an entire weekend. You really only had one 24-hour day off. So that's how it was.
Oh, gotcha. Got yeah, because I've seen it happen too often, man, where guys go out into town, and then they'll let loose because they think that they've already made it. They
Uh-huh.
think they're one of the boys, they think they're a badass, and then they go out into
Uh-huh.
town, get themselves in trouble, and then just to come back in and process and get kicked out, right? So I've seen that
Yeah.
way too many times. And it typically happens with our younger population, the 18 X-ray population. I don't know if you guys have a program that's similar to where, as an 18 X-ray, you could come right off the street. You go to airborne school. I mean, correction. You go to infantry basic, infantry AIT, airborne school. You go through a prep course, and then you go right into selection. And then once you get done with selection, these guys are typically 22, 23-year olds, right off the street. I'll bring you to the Army. They just got done with selection, which is probably the hardest thing some of them have ever done. And then they think they're a badass. They think they're Billy Badass, and they go into town, and they start jaw jacking to dudes from the 82nd, that's seasoned vet, or they go run from the cops and try to do some special operations shit just to come back, Monday morning and get out processed out of the qualification course because they stepped on that crank, right? They thought they were there already. So I see that happen all the damn time. And it blows my mind because you want those guys to succeed, but it's like, man, it's like until you're done, like you're always being assessed, right? That's the saying that we have on our side, like you're always being assessed until you're done. So I'm glad to hear. Well, I'm not glad to hear, but it sounds like it also happens on you guys' side also, which is wild to begin with. Um, now you mentioned that you were the first honor graduate to or you were the honor grad on of your bud class. Like, how did you get to that point? Was it you just always showing up, helping people? Like, how do they rack and stack and evaluate you guys when it comes to that type of thing? Because I know on outside we have like pinks and blues where we rack and stack against our peers. There's evals. There's a bunch of stuff that they do. Like, how does that system look like on you guys' side?
We got a two process where you get a peer process or peer evaluation, right? So your
Mm-hmm.
peers in your class, they also vote, and then you also have the voting from the instructor staff. So they got to kind of like, mimic each other. They kind of mirror each other. So if one is kind of way off, then they kind of redo it all over again. So well, my peers voted for me, and then the instructor staff voted for me at the end. So that's how I won that. And I would say the way I won it was based off of uh, energy, right? Effort. Uh, and I'm not trying to say that to be cliches for the audience watching this. I want people to really get and understand that energy and effort was really the key of how I got to that point because I wasn't the fastest swimmer. Let's be real, wasn't a thing. I wasn't even close. 2 mile ocean swims we did once a week, and I never was in the top 5, top 10. I was never, never, ever that close to winning that. I was always pretty much at the very bottom, like right when you come across the finish line. I roughly had like 2 minutes left before I failed that test every time. I wasn't the fastest on the obstacle course, right? There was guys who were getting close to breaking the record. I wasn't the fastest, shooter, or not the fast shooter, but the best or most efficient shooter. Dive physics. I wasn't the best person when it came to dive calculations and getting to our targets on our dive trials. Like when we have a whole mission profile that we got to accomplish and go fake blow up a ship across the harbor. I wasn't the one who always got to that ship right away, but I got there still. You know what I mean? I learned trial and error. I went through the ups and downs, but I was always the guy who gave the most effort. Everyone knew who I was. Everyone knew I was there. I was never the gray man, right? And I think you know what gray men are, people that
Mm-hmm.
hide and just kind of run with the flow of the class and don't really stand out. You don't even know who they are until they graduate, and you're like, whoa, you're still here? Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you come from? You don't even know your name. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You hid the entire time. And then I wasn't way in the back where, I was just barely passing, but I was able to just still stay in and I didn't ruffle no feathers. I mean, I remember a time I tell you, I was fighting guys in my class. That's how serious I took it, right? I wasn't letting other people dictate, how I was going to be, my energy was going to be. So
mm-hmm.
when we started getting in trouble because we had these young kids, sometimes really super young kids who came right out of high school, who just had these little arrogant attitudes, these who wasn't following the rules, who wasn't paying attention to detail, getting the whole class in trouble for dumb stuff. I mean, I was on the ground ready to fight a few of these people, and
Yeah,
people saw that. People saw that. People saw me yelling at my classmates because when I came there for me, right? And
absolutely.
you know this. In your
Oh yeah.
class, you're there for you. You don't know none of these
Mm-hmm.
people. They all come from all over the world, at least all over America, and then you may have a few foreign uh, uh, teammates who come in as well because we have those, those. What am I trying to say? Those
Liaison
allegiances.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was that guy who just made sure I put in effort. I made sure I was seen, made sure I
Yeah.
was heard, my voice was carried, and that you don't have to be the best physically, but if you're the one putting in the effort, that's how you get there.
Yeah. A- And I tell folks this all the time whenever I do my mentorship calls. Like I'll tell them because majority of the guys that reach out, some of them are older and they're worried about their physical abilities. I tell them,
Mhm.
look, man, like as a cadre, when I was at SWIC as a cadre, SWIC is our schoolhouse special warfare training group. I wasn't looking at the 32-year-old the same way I'm looking at the 21-year-old. I know the 21-year-old should be able to haul ass and run sub, 11 mile or sub 2 minute, correction, sub 2 miles, at around 11 minutes. Give it like I expect him to be in the best physical shape of his life. I don't expect the 32-year-old to be able to outrun the 21-year-old. But however, there's certain traits and there's certain qualities that I'm looking in a 31-year-old: leadership, maturity. Like he should have all of that stuff, right? Because as long as he meets the standards and he has those other traits, it should put him on the same playing field like that 21-year-old that has the physical problems but doesn't necessarily have the leadership and the maturity. Because now you put them together, and this guy should be able to shine when it comes to leading, making decisions, making sure everybody's good to go. And then, oh, I need heavy shit carried. 21-year-old, 22-year-old, you're up, right? Like that's how that all plays out. Now, do you guys have an 18 X-ray program? Do you guys have a program where guys can come right off the street and straight to buds after basic and AIT, or is that not a
No,
thing?
no, you're right. We do. Guys that that's what. So when I spoke about super young, that's exactly the guys I was talking about. Guys who
Mm,
finished boot camp and went straight from boot camp right into Navy SEAL training. So I mean, you get guys who just and believe it. There's a lot of young guys too who are just as mature. They know what they want. They know what they're there for. So they're focused and they're ready to go. They're not playing around. But then you still get those other ones who come in. They don't want it as bad, or they
yeah.
didn't think it was going to be this much. It didn't. It's going to take this much effort that when you had that time off on the weekend to take care of your body, go heal, go let your body heal and relax. Because you know how it is, bro. You are running because y'all have those rucks on your back. So you are
Hmm.
running everywhere. Whether you're doing a
Absolutely.
fast walk type of thing, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But your legs and knees and feet take a beating. So yeah,
Constant
yeah, yeah,
pressure.
that's exactly how we had. Same thing, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as far as buds, what's the breakdown of it? Because I know our selection process, 3 weeks long for anybody out there inspiring to go to either buds or green berets. So
Hmm.
for us on our side, it's 21 days long. The first week we do all our physical gates, right? All the time runs, the known distance run, the unknown distance runs, the known distance ruck, the unknown distance rucks, and then just your APFT, push up, sit ups, and all. So all your physical gates to make sure that you, as a candidate, prepared, right? Because that's what it's about. And you'll be surprised the amount of people that show up to selection and they fail some of the APFT or some of the basic tests because they didn't prepare, right? So the first week is meant to test that. Then we go into the second week, which is land navigation. So it's an entire week of conducting practical exercises, navigating from point A to point B. And then towards the end of that week, we do what's called a STOR exam. The STOR exam is it's a 10-hour land navigation course where you are up there by yourself and you're navigating from point A to point B. And if you make it past that, then you go into what's called team week, which it's an entire week of you conducting a variety of different impossible mission scenarios. You want me to move a Jeep with no wheels, 8 miles, and then yeah, that type of stuff, right? So it's an entire week of doing that. And while all this is going on, no sleep, uh, little food, water here and there, and then towards the end we hold a selection ceremony, and then whoever gets selected, you go back to your unit, clear, and then you start the qualification course, which is 12 months long. What's the breakdown of you guys's buds program? Because I know it's 6 months, but I'm sure there's some structures to it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Good question on that. I think that gives the audience a good idea. People, especially who's thinking about going in Green
Hmm.
Beret or SEAL. So at Buds, you got three phases, right? First phase is just what we call it. First phase, second phase, third phase. Each phase is meant to teach or get you to a certain point, or the title anyway. First phase is truly the selection. Just so everyone understands, first phase is selection. You ain't there to learn shit. Nothing about selection is you going to learn. Nothing about how to be a SEAL. You are just going to get your shit kicked in, and they're trying to find out just how tough you are, and then also trim the fat of the class and get really down to the real juice and grease of the class of the people that's really wanting to be there, really want this. So that first phase, you'll see your class start at my class started like 270, 270 men roughly. And by the time we were done with Hell Week, which was that fourth week, We were down to about 100. No. We went into Hell Week about 130. So we came out of Hell Week about 80. That's what it
Mm-hmm.
was. Yep. So with just 4 weeks to go, with 4 weeks to go after Hell Week, we were down with just about 80 guys in the class. And then that slowly got chopped down because guys were still healing from Hell Week and their bodies just kind of shut down on them. So they couldn't continue forward. So they had to go into a holding program, which they do allow for a certain period of time. Like if you're going to be there while your body is healing way too long, your dream of being a SEAL is done. They just cut you and all right, sorry, your body just ain't ready for this, and you're out. Even though you made it past Hell Week. If you made it past Hell Week and your body is shutting down on you and they like you, they'll try to keep you, even if you're going to be there for a long period of time. But they have to like you though. They have to mean they have to felt that energy, that effort that you was putting in. And then after you get done with that part of first phase, you can go to second phase. Second phase is the diving piece, right? This is when you learn dive physics. You're diving open circuit, closed circuit. Closed circuit is rebreathers for those who don't understand. Those are where we can be underneath a pier, staring right at you from underneath the water, and you won't even know we're there because there's no bubbles. We're not off gassing
Mm-hmm.
anything, like on an open circuit where every time you exhale, you just shooting up a bunch of bubbles like you see in the movies. So
Mm-hmm.
the rebreathers are very, very cool. That's like 007 James Bond type of stuff. Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise stuff right there. And you learn all of that. So there's some academics that you're going to really start to take hold on you in second phase that you got to pass. You got to pass those
Mm-hmm.
academic tests. And then there's some physical stuff you still going to do. They're still going to beat the crap out of you. So it's still a physical beat down. You do that for 2 months. So second phase, same thing. And the main thing in second phase is pool competency. That's the test. So that test is pretty much the entire day. You're just waiting for your time to go in to this pool, and they're going to work you. I mean, work you. They're going to try to test your how competent and how safe and that you feel underwater in case of an emergency. So say you probably seen in the videos on some of these on YouTube, and we'll probably make a little short video of that. Guys crawling with open
Mm-hmm.
circuit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Underwater at the bottom of the pool, and you're just going back and forth crawling. And what it is the instructor staff is watching you. And then they've taught you procedures on how to fix your rig anytime of something may break down in the water. Because you can't
Like a
just shoot to the surface
malfunction.
when
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, like a malfunction. So they want you to troubleshoot these things and base off the stages of what they taught you to do it in that specific order, right? To see if you can be competent enough, even in that kind of fear that you don't have no more breath, you're about to run out of oxygen, that you can take your time, be a free thinker, a critical thinker, and work through the process. So they swim down, dive down, and they beat you. They rip your what's the
Like your
cylinder out your mouth.
breather. Yeah. Like your
Yeah, they
breather.
rip that out of. I
I
forgot the
can't
name
think
of
of the
it. The
name right now,
little.
but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they rip that out of your mouth, and they do it perfectly. They time it perfectly. No, once you exhale, they come down and attack you, and they rip it out, and they ball you up, and you got to sit there and go for the ride for like the first
Mm-hmm.
60 seconds of this. So you're holding your breath without nothing going on, and then when they release you, then you got to get calm, get your body upright, and work your way through these procedures to find how to turn your regulator. Your regulator. That's what I was trying. That's what we're trying to
Regulator.
get
Yeah.
to. How to get your regulator unfucked, basically, because it's all tied up, screwed up, and all the stuff behind you. And you got to get it. Sometimes you can do it from behind you, or if you can't, you got to learn how to take everything off in stages through the procedures, flip that thing in front of you, fix the problem, get you some air, and then keep going. It ain't done. The test ain't over. That's people think the test is done when you fix the problem. Nope. Once you get it going again, you breathe it, then you put it back on, you strap back in, and you keep crawling across the bottom of the ocean, of the pool. And this thing happens to you the entire day. And
Wow.
so that's the big test, the second phase. And then after you graduate that, then you go to the third phase, which is the students like to call it the graduation phase because now you only got 2 months left and then you are done with
People
buds.
still fuck it up though, don't they?
People still mess it up, bro. You get so close to the end and you can taste it. You can taste the end, but people still make dumb mistakes, man, and they get themselves kicked out of the program. And you see it all the time. And I mean, and granted, mentally you're over it. Mentally you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally because the instructor staff aren't giving you no kudos. You constantly still feel that you are an f up. You're always messing up still. So when I tell people this is not a athletic sport type of thing where you're going to get those kind of support systems, you don't have that. It's all a mental beating, all a mental breakdown the entire time. And you learn demolition, demolition calculation, how to create charges, explosions. So we'll do some explosions underwater. You do some on land. Um, then you also go to the range. You're shooting guns a little bit more now. Now
Hmm.
again, you start to learn a little bit about what a Navy SEAL is about. So you go through all this stuff, and then you go out to the island off the coast of California. It's called San Clemente Island, where they always say where they can't, no one can hear you scream. So they put you out there, and it's the worst. No joke. You are isolated. This is an island dedicated to the SEALs and other special forces users it too. I'm sure Green Berets go out there and use it as well. But man, they designate this thing, and man, you go out there and it's cold on this island because the wind is hitting you from all directions. The water is even colder. Great white sharks are in that water. They show you an introduction to the island, a video of great white sharks, just so they can get in your mind. They show you this, right, just to get in your head. And they got obstacle course there. They got so many things that we can do there, and everything's that much harder on the island. And you go through mission profiles where they want you to actually patrol into a makeshift city that they have on that island, where they have different things, like they have a few different houses. They got targets inside these houses, and they give you this mission profile. They want you to go in there and breach this house. They want you to go and take out the bad guys. They want you to do this, so gather intel on this thing. So you're starting to work your way to learning the process of what it's like to be a SEAL. And people still mess that up, man. After your demo calculations are off, you're a safety
Gone. Hmm.
violation. You're gone. You're on the gun range. You're shooting. You're not proficient enough. You're not getting that expert where you need to be, or you're not as safe. You're gone. You're not. Everything is set at a standard that you have to meet, and the standard is what it is. And that's why I think America, a lot of times, we've lost a little bit of standards as well. I know I'm just kind of drifting into something else, but standards is a thing. Set a standard and make everyone have to meet that standard, and don't ever drop that or bend that. And
Absolutely.
that's what
Absolutely.
it's like before you graduate.
Yeah, especially in the for the military too. Like there's a because one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is, especially as it relates to the military,
Yeah.
all the things that takes place at selection, the qualification course, on the Navy side and on the Army side, it's meant to make sure that that young man gets home safe when he is in the worst position that he can be as a warrior. All the training, all the stress, everything that instructors putting him through is to make sure that he is he is prepared to the best of our ability as cadre to make sure that he gets to come home to mom and dad. And that's what it's about. That's what the standards are about. And I'm glad to hear on you guys' side you're upholding the standard also. Um, Now, recently, SecDef Pete Hegseth change the gender neutral standards, right? Like he essentially created one standard. He was like, hey, for
Yeah.
combat arms, if you want to be special operation or you want to do that job, you have to meet the same standards as the males, right? What are your thoughts about that? Because I know in the past, I know on the Green Beret side, the standards have definitely changed to allow females to be able to go. I know this because the selection that I went through was some of the, like, I swear to God, login rifle PT. Like, I'm still looking for my soul. It's out there somewhere, right? I still can't find that some bitch. But that was probably one of the hardest part of selection for me was 3 hours of log PT and then 3 hours of rifle PT. That aspect of the course was removed, and then Lord and behold, a couple of months later, females started going through it. Right? What are your thoughts on that specific current event as far as, hey, from here on out, we're not saying you can't apply, but you have to do the same thing that the males had to do.
Right before I retired in 2021, I got a chance to work for the division department in the SEAL teams, SEAL Command, where it was about recruiting for the SEALs. So getting out there and testing kids in high school, colleges, and anyone who was looking to be that, and give them the physical exam, talking to them about mental toughness, all that kind of stuff, and trying to put them in a place where they understand that we have a standard they have to match. So we were looking at both men and women at that time, right? Because just so everyone knows, there has not been a woman SEAL in history, right? and women were not even what am I trying to say? Women were not even allowed to participate or even apply to be a SEAL till 2016.
What are you talking about, man?
So
I'm
this
I'm, I'm pretty sure I saw one. Was it Demi Moore? Wasn't she a SEAL? Was it?
See, another myth we got to bust, right? Another myth we got to bust because people really thought that. People really thought she was based off of a
Yeah,
woman.
a
She
true
played a role who
story.
was a
Yeah.
SEAL. Yeah. And people were like, nah, that was never a true story. There's never been a woman SEAL in all history. It was a
Oh
cool,
shit.
cool thing, but
Yeah.
it's a myth. Um, but she, not she, but yeah. So we haven't allowed that to 2016, and I
Hmm.
retired in 2021. So my last 3.5, 4 years, well, 4 years really, was pushing to give awareness, but there was also a little push to try to also give that more awareness to women.
Hmm.
Which, you know what, I've always been that person of like, and I'm not even saying it just because who we are on the show right now, but I've always had that idea. If a person can meet the standard, I'm cool. I am completely cool. So when we start really getting on that recruiting, we was also recruiting heavily for looking for women who would like to apply.
Hmm.
And I think during those 4 years I was there, we may have had 3 women who actually applied and who passed the N test, the screening test, and they kind of got to a point where they got to there was in SOAS. SOAS was the selection for officer candidates who was
Hmm.
trying to be a Navy SEAL. I think 2 of them were that, and I think one were coming in as an enlisted. So they went through boot camp and they went through the program in Chicago before they came to San Diego. But none of them got to buds, right? None of them got the buzz. SOAS, basically what SOAS is, we have these college candidates who come to San Diego and they're kind of like half selected from the college, the university. I'm talking about University of Florida, University of Miami, Texas, Alabama, all the prestigious schools who had top athletes that they really wanted to see if they could make it. So they will send them to us and we give them this 10-day course. It's like a 10-day, here you go. We're going to let you see what it's like, and then we'll
Hmm.
give you evaluation, send you back to your university. Our evaluation will be a description of, hey, we like this candidate, kind of. So they can come back and do the full on buds later, right? Or, nah, I wouldn't like this candidate. This candidate didn't do this or meet the standard, so yeah, don't ever send this candidate back. So that's what SOAS was like. So we would hammer these kids in that 10 days that they was in town. As I was an instructor in that piece as well. But the one that I heard about that went to boot camp and was going through the initial phase before she got approved to come to San Diego, she never passed the exit exam for what they was
Okay.
doing in Chicago. So she never got past that point. Um, and that's why she never made it. So the standard, like you said, we always hear, even in the SEAL teams, man, because people, and this is the thing, we've had people who have lost their life in buzz training. This is not a every year thing. Very rare that this happens. When it does, though, there's this knee jerk reaction that the standard is too high. We shouldn't have it this way. We should lower these standards or something like that or whatever, whatever. And then it always comes out as just hearsay and talk, and people just have this knee jerk reaction. So we're always making sure, and I can say, I think, and I'm proud of this, that the SEAL team community has had the balls to really maintain that. So they fought Congress, they fought these politicians who are trying to say because of a parent is pissed off because her kid did this, a kid may have tried to commit suicide after the fact, and they like this stuff is too much for the psychological person. It shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be wearing on people after they don't make it or whatever. And no, this is what it should be like. The standard should be this tough. You should want your kid, if they're going to be a Navy SEAL, to be on this upper echelon of a human being. Because when it comes down to it, we got to go to war. You
Hmm.
need people who are really ingrained in them that this is my life or death right here. I am going to go and fight for you, Jay. Me and you going in the house together. I got your back. I'm gonna walk through the house first, and whatever happens in front of me, I'm gonna take that so it doesn't hit you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of me trying to dodge and dive out the way or whatever. I
Yeah.
am I am that man. I am gonna put myself between whatever danger I can have to keep you alive, while we're trying to keep ourselves together at the same time. We
Hmm.
both want to come home, but I am going to do my job to the best of my ability to make sure I don't get you hurt. You know what I mean?
And
So,
when when you have a group of dudes that have that
mhm,
same mindset, that's when it all
mhm,
comes together. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about.
yeah,
But yeah, you
yeah,
guys, because I know on our side we have Rangers that are females, we have Green Berets that are females. You guys, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, you guys, they're still holding it down, man. But again, when politicians start using the military, um, as a ground for testing, social policies, that's when stuff gets to get muddied. But I have a feeling that we're slowly going back to how it used to be. We're on an uptrend on, reversing all of the things we did with the military for the past 4 years, man. And again, nothing against anybody, man, because another way I like to look at it, not to get all crazy with it, like there was a time in our history where you and I couldn't serve in combat arms, right? That didn't mean we
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
do it. We didn't get the opportunity. And then once we got it, we paved our way and here we are. It's the same for females. We're not saying don't go try. By all means, go try. But I guarantee you, whenever our ancestors were trying to break the barrier and start fighting in combat arms, they didn't lower the standards for us. So
No.
we shouldn't have to lower it for anybody else. You
They
know what I
made it
mean?
high. They
Because
made it harder for us. They made it
there you
harder
go.
because they didn't want us to be in. They didn't
There
want
you
us to
go.
be pilots. They
There
didn't
you
want us to
go.
be divers and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
they made the selection even harder for us when because you only have onesie twosies applying here and there. So just
Yeah.
like you said, they made that qualification for us to pass the test even that much harder. So we had to prove ourselves, okay, we deserve to be here, and we're just not a fluke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So by all means, go prove that you deserve to be there, but don't expect the standard to change for you, right? But
Mhm.
Q, any final words, any final comments before we punch out of here?
You know, because I like that we went into the fact of standards. You know what I mean? And like you
Hmm.
said, whether people believe, not believe. Let me say how can we say whether people are in favor of certain politicians, these politicians. I know what the background of Hex, he was in the he was in the army before, right? I believe, and then he
Major in
went
the army.
on
Yeah.
major in the army, and then he went on to as a anchor into
For
news
Fox.
or
Yeah.
Fox. And some people have a certain viewpoint about him and does he qualify for that and all that stuff. Whether or not you like
Shit don't
those kind of
matter. Yeah.
things, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whether like you're into that kind of stuff, it's like what he is doing is really bringing back these standards that we have been losing over our military over years because we've becoming softer. We've been allowing
Hmm.
certain things that we normally don't allow and we shouldn't allow because we always had a standard. You know what I mean? And I think people need to look at it from that standpoint and say, hey, this is truly what's going on. And listen to military men and women like us because
Hmm.
we've been there. I just retired in 2021. You know what I mean? Now, so since then to now, I'm pretty sure we don't have a woman in the SEAL teams yet. And I don't know if there's ever been one that actually got to buds yet because I think the awareness piece is still low. So as
Hmm.
we get out there and put that awareness out there, then you'll get more women try to apply, right? And then all these kind of things. But I mean, if my class was 270 men, that was just one class, and only out of that 270, 15 of us graduated.
Mm.
Imagine how many women will have to go through the pipeline before you get one to
One.
graduate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I tell people just understand that there always have to be a standard.
Hmm.
And the standards has to be very high and extreme because if you have
So
a doctor
yeah.
and he's a surgeon, right? And his standard of whatever school he went to was down here, right? To be qualified as a doctor. But really the standard should be way up here. You got to go through, 15, 20 years of extra schooling or whatever this normal standard is for a surgeon to become qualified. And then you find out the person about to do surgery on you he's only went to school like 5 years, like a normal typical university. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What most people are going to look at? I'm looking at the person that spent an extra 15 years of education and trials and experience and working in hospitals before he was even allowed to cut on somebody. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The standard was that intent because now I know this guy's going to take care of me in surgery. And that's the same thing I think people should understand in every avenue of life. There has to be a standard. And I like the fact that we have huge standards in the military. And I'm glad we have politicians now who are really trying to help maintain that standard of high
Absolutely.
quality men, high valuable men and women. And that's all I say. So if they want to see us some more, brother, I mean, a lot of people already know who you are, but definitely reach out on my YouTube. I do personal mentorship as well. I mean, not on my YouTube, but on my website, and you can send me a message DM. Definitely go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Me and my brother here, Jay, we're gonna be doing some lives, I'm sure, as well. And on my Instagram, those are like my three main ways you can get in touch with me. So I'm here every day.
Absolutely, folks. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, go check out Q's YouTube channel, Green Beret Chronicles over here, and then follow us on Instagram also. And then let us know if there's a specific topic you want us to cover, right? Because again, you have him on the Navy side, me on the Army side. Between the two of us, we got 40 plus years of experience, right? We can probably answer whatever questions you might have, or we know someone that can get you an answer. So yeah, folks, we appreciate you guys. If you got any value out of this, make sure you let us know. Until next time, folks, take care of yourself.